Fantastic, I love it. We obviously are going to see Mega and Dubs compete today. Shifty Shafts is looking like it could be the one. We've got a few teams in that contention there as well. But let's take a look at some of the duos specifically, because there are still so many who've not qualified and names that you kind of think should be there or thereabouts. Let's take a look at Casca and Smacked first, who I know are a duo that we've talked about loads before at FNCS. Still not qualified, but they are going to be competing today for us, Vivid. What makes these guys definitely worth a watch?
They are a well-vetted duo. They have the experience, and overall, they're just good, right? They just haven't found their rhythm yet. However, at the end of day 2 yesterday, we saw that they got a 4th place with 4 eliminations. And the previous 4 games, they didn't do too well. So that last game kind of sets them up for a strong opener today. If they can carry that momentum into day number 3, they can have a good day. And Southern Tilted Towers uncontested is huge for them as well.
Yeah, and we've seen teams qualify out of that space. Most namely is Benji Fishy and Mr. Savage over on EU, taking that same position. You're able to get all your mats, good loadout, so I expect them to do pretty well.
Yeah, me too. Obviously, we saw mats yesterday with high ground takes as well. Was so pivotal. So it's great they can load up with the mats and hopefully get to the end game. Let's talk about another one of our duos as well. Slacks and Clarity G. I chose these guys yesterday prediction-wise. Didn't quite go through. 14th now, both days back-to-back. Not quite making, but very close to doing so. Why are they so special here, Vivid?
Yeah, you got to think 14th, right? With 11 teams going through, that's only 3 spots behind. Looking through their match history, they usually like to hover around that 12th place finish each game, right? So they are very close to just breaking into that top 10. If they can just clean it up today on day number 3, they are for sure going to make it through at least consistency. But I bet that these guys can for sure get a victory out because they have the experience.
And we saw them get close a couple of times. They were going for that high ground position yesterday, and that is exactly where you want to be based on what we've seen. But there was also a couple teams that played that low ground. That may be the switch of plans in order to succeed today.
Yes, absolutely. And one team I know that we're all excited to see as well in this competition, Income on day number 3, Cease and Elite. We've seen Cease talk loads on our pre-show, the videos and such as well. It's great to see him compete today as well with his teammate Vivid. It's great to see what these guys could bring to the table.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the double-edged sword of coming in on day 3, right? Like, you're not really used to playing in these lobbies yet, while some of these players who have been in it through both days are. But then these players don't know really how you play yet because you haven't shown any of your cards yet. So it could really work in their favor. And landing over at the Covert Canyon, you know that you get those guaranteed launch pads, which could be very favorable in just coming out and winning a Victory Royale.
Again, seen a number of teams coming out of this POI and qualifying to finals, so we'll see exactly if they're able to replicate that, because it's not a simple task, especially if they're going to be contested.
Yeah, it could actually be quite an advantage as well, couldn't it? Coming in on day 3, having not had a chance to compete yet at all, you're kind of feeling good. You know you need to make an impact immediately, whereas other teams could be kind of flagging a little bit after 2 days of not competing. It'd be interesting to see how this one unfolds. But let's actually take a look at that POI specifically as well. We're looking at like kind of, off-spawn fights will be really interesting today. And Covert Cavern seems to be one where there's going to be a few teams going head-to-head to head. What makes it such a great POI to land in, Vivid? Why do we like seeing this one so much? What makes it such an interesting spot for our duos to begin their journey each game from?
Let's just say the obvious answer, right? The vault. There's just so much concentrated loot. You got the guaranteed launch pad, some slurp barrels in there, and there's chests that just give it so much loot. But then also, you have these launch pads that are actually based around the POI that are always there, so it makes kind of some easy rotations out of the POI alone. And that's why you see so many players stick at this POI when they don't have the key card. They just kind of sit there and they're waiting for the other duo to bring it back, because there are guaranteed rotations out of this area, and you get so much loot from the vault that you can just heal up even though you're tanking the storm. So it's like there's a lot of loot to gather, but all the teams know that, so they fight for it.
Yeah, and we'll see exactly how this plays out, who decides to claim and what winds up happening by that 6th match. One thing we haven't really seen is teams using that IO card to try and rotate out of there, because that's one of the best vehicles in the game to use for rotates. Like you said, Vivid, there's so much movement coming out of that POI, so these players have to capture that.
Yeah, and this could be one of the reasons that we've had. You mentioned it, SBG. Some of our teams have qualified from that POI is because of those rotations that are so beneficial to them as well. So I can't wait to see it unfold. I mean, obviously we've had 2 days of this already, and here's day number 3, and I'm just absolutely buzzing for the 3rd day of this because the format's so much fun as well. So let's take a look at another POI actually. We mentioned Loot there. Let's look at Loot Lake. Why not? And Redbridge here. Vivid, another POI which seems relatively popular. We're looking at we're going to get an off-spawn fight there as well. What can you see happening?
Floating chests that are there, but there's no real amount of concentrated loot. So you'll see a lot of these times these players will just land on each other at wherever the main bundle of the loot is, because if they know that if they lose that area of the loot, then they pretty much are going to lose that fight anyway. And you really got to just work on an elimination. On an elimination on the other team that's contesting you fast, because if they're off like stealing your route, you can't just work with whatever you land on there. You need the whole area.
Work when they need to, particularly when things like Storm. Even getting ahead of myself here. While I reset and dab. Coming at you from NAE.
I like pizza more because I have it a lot more.
Pizza.
Oh, pizza, 100%.
I prefer pizzas.
I'm just not a big fan of hamburgers, to be honest. I don't know, I've just always liked pizza more than hamburgers.
I like high ground a lot more.
Right now in the state of Fortnite, I'd probably say high ground.
I think low ground because it's 100% more safe than high ground.
I like low ground more because on high ground a lot more people will like have a chance of ruining your game.
Low ground.
Definitely low ground. I've always been more of a low ground type of player my whole career. I have 2 dogs, so it's a little biased, but I'm definitely a dog type of guy.
I like dogs more because my dad's actually allergic to cats, so I can't have any.
I've never been a dog person. I've always had like cat.
I would go with cats because I have 4 cats at home and I really never had a dog, and cats is just the cutest thing ever.
I have 2 dogs, so I prefer dogs.
Definitely dogs. 100%.
Car, definitely.
Probably car.
100% car because there's shield that can protect you from every bullet.
Definitely by car.
Car probably because you're more like sealed in it.
Car.
Bionic legs, because like probably runs so fast. You definitely go super speed.
Definitely bionic legs.
Legs, to be honest, because like I feel like you use your arms more than your legs.
I think I would say leg. I think it would be pretty cool to just run like really fast or do anything with your leg.
Probably bionic arms.
Bionic legs, so that way I can sit forever.
Spike traps. They're a lot more effective.
I like spike traps a lot.
The spike trap, it's easy.
Spike traps.
Probably poison darts because they're not as OP as the spike trap.
Spike trap just because it was the OG move when I full boxed somebody. I would always get them killed if I placed 2 traps.
My mom doesn't like when I order takeout and stuff. But I like it because it's like, you don't really get to do anything, you know?
Takeout, because I feel like you can just get so much better food.
I'm definitely more of a home cooked meal type of guy.
Probably most likely takeout right now.
Hate the snow. Hate it. It's snowing right now. I hate it.
I don't like snow at all.
Snow, definitely. I live in Canada, so I get a lot of snow.
Sand, to be honest, because I don't really like the cold weather.
Oh, definitely the snow because I was born in November, so like there was really like a lot of snow.
Definitely snow. I like the snow a lot.
I'd say more edge than center.
I like playing around the edge because map.
Middle, definitely.
Edge of zone.
In the middle of zone. I was always a center zone type of IGL.
I would have said middle because it's way more safe than playing edge.
Definitely NA. E is really bad.
EU. It's just a better region.
NA for sure.
I think I will go with EU because there are really good mechanics.
EU.
NA on top, bro. NA on top.
Dogs. SBG, Vivid or Adam?
Oh no, I'm not answering.
Sweat. Honestly, it's great to know that
necessarily been able to go through. Not a single one of those Session 3 duos over in Europe was able to push through and get into the finals. So now we're going to be keeping an eye on what happens. However, Cobra Cavern has been a very strong spot, as also we keep an eye on that top left. We see Muzz ended up picking up an Elim very early on here. It's going to end up being valuable for them, not only for Storm Surge, but for confidence. We talked about how they're in very much under pressure here, but speaking of under pressure, we switch right on over. Pamstu getting some shots there onto Scarebear, backing him down. Static, though, already sitting on an Elim, so Vatch looks like he's exited the lobby pretty quickly, and unfortunately, my caster curse seems like it's got some pretty good mojo behind it so far this weekend.